Welcome to The Explainer. In healthcare, there's a massive, multi-billion-dollar problem that's quietly draining the financial health of clinics everywhere. So today, we're giving you the leader's guide to not just stopping that leak, but actually reclaiming that revenue for good.
$125 billion. According to RevCycle Intelligence, that's what ineffective contract management alone is costing healthcare providers every single year. That is just a staggering amount of money being left on the table.
So the big question, right, is where is all this money going? And, maybe more importantly, how can you and your clinic get it back? Well, in the next few minutes, we're going to give you a strategic framework to answer that exact question and seriously improve your clinic's financial health.
Okay, let's dive right in. We'll start by uncovering where this hidden revenue drain is coming from. Then, we're going to tackle the two big levers you need to pull: mastering your internal engine and optimizing your payer partnerships. After that, we'll see how all this future-proofs your revenue, and we'll wrap it all up with an actionable blueprint you can use.
The biggest threats to your revenue, they're not always the obvious ones. A lot of the time, they're hidden in plain sight, buried deep in these super complex contracts and, frankly, inefficient internal processes that just quietly bleed you dry day after day.
And look, this isn't just a hunch, the data backs it up. A study from the American Medical Association found that a massive 85% of providers think payer contracts are just way too complex. And get this, 70% flat out admit they don't fully understand the terms of the contracts they're working under. Wild, right? So, to get a handle on this, leaders have to master two key levers. First, you've got to tune up your internal engine. That's your revenue cycle management, or RCM. And second, you have to optimize your external partnerships, which really just means taking command of your payer contracts.
All right, let's tackle that first lever by taking a look inside your clinic's operations. A really well-oiled RCM system is your absolute first line of defense against revenue loss. It's that important.
So where does the problem really start? Well, believe it or not, nearly half of all claim denials, we're talking almost 50%, are because of simple front-end errors. Things like inaccurate client info. And the crucial takeaway here isn't just the number, it's that these are highly preventable mistakes.
You can completely overhaul your RCM by focusing on three critical steps. First, you've got to fortify that front end. That means verifying everything before a service is even performed. Second, perfect your documentation and coding with really precise, payer-specific training and regular audits. And third, you have to master denial management. Analyze why claims are getting rejected and then use that data to fix the root cause. This shifts you from just reacting to problems to proactively protecting your revenue.
So how do you know if it's working? Well, think of these KPIs as the dashboard for your internal engine. A high clean claim rate? That's your proof that the front end is solid. Your denial rate pinpoints exactly where you need to improve. And your point of service collection rate? Well, that's a direct measure of your clinic's cash flow health.
Okay, so your internal engine is getting tuned up. Now let's move to that second lever. It's time to shift our focus to your external relationships with payers. This is where you can turn one of your biggest administrative headaches into a really powerful strategic asset.
Let's be honest, navigating payer contracts can feel like a minefield. The language is dense, the negotiations take up a ton of time. We're talking almost half of providers spending over 10 hours a week on them, and most clinics just don't have the data to know if they're even getting a fair shake. It's a recipe for burnout.
But a proactive, data-driven strategy completely changes the game. Start by doing a full audit of all your current contracts. Then, use industry benchmarking data to see where you actually stand. And when you go to that negotiating table, don't just ask for more. Leverage your quality metrics to prove your value. And finally, this is a big one. Secure automatic annual escalators. That way, you're protected from inflation. This approach turns a defensive chore into a real offensive opportunity.
Now, mastering these two levers isn't just about making today's numbers look better. It's really about preparing your clinic for the single biggest shift happening in healthcare payment models, the move to value-based care.
The entire industry is moving in this direction. It's called value-based care, or VBC. And it's a model where, finally, the financial incentives are aligned with your actual mission, delivering excellent patient outcomes. You get paid for quality, not just quantity. And this slide really nails the difference. The old way, fee-for-service, it rewards volume. The more you do, the more you make. But value-based care rewards outcomes, creating better health, ideally at a lower cost. It's a fundamental shift from being paid for doing more to being paid for doing better. So here's the absolute crucial point.
All this work you're doing today, mastering your RCM, optimizing your contracts, that's the non-negotiable foundation you need to thrive in the payment models of tomorrow. You simply cannot succeed in a VBC world without it.
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, right? From internal processes to external partnerships to future trends. So let's boil all of this down into a final, actionable blueprint that you can take back to your team.
All right, here it is, your 4-point plan. First, tune your internal engine by fixing those front-end errors. Second, optimize your external partnerships using data-driven negotiations. Third, build that bridge to the future. Recognize that this work prepares you for value-based care. And fourth, use technology to automate and analyze, making all of this so much more efficient.
So we'll leave you with this one final thought. Take this question back to your team. Looking at your internal processes and your external contracts, what is the single biggest revenue opportunity that you are ignoring right now? Answering that question is the very first step on your path to a much healthier financial future.